Dear Brisa, I can still picture you perfectly. In your brother's oversized t-shirt, long hair twisted up into a bun, a violin in your hands running your little school for the kids in the community. And you seem so little to me now. That's the strangest thing about growing up. You realize how young 15 really is. Did he just leave your room? Did he just finish pinning you down and shoving himself into you again? Are you writing the details of this dark secret deep into your diary? I know, and I'm with you, holding your hand, whispering to you to stay alive. Brisa, I need you to know something. This is not your fault. There is a way out. You are not alone. You are valuable. He told you those early touches were accidents. You believed him. That's not your fault. He's your older cousin, and the weekend your parents went away, he began raping you. He is wrong. He is responsible, and you are not what he says you are. You are not a whore. You didn't bring this upon yourself. You're staying silent because you want to protect our parents and brothers and sisters. But what if I told you they will stand by you when you refuse to hide the incest that infects so many lives in Bolivia? When your aunts and uncles threaten you, setting your house on fire numerous times, they will keep fighting because they love you and believe you. There is a way out. I'm gonna be honest with you because that's what I would have wanted. In court, you'll be blamed. The judge will tell you that a rape committed against a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old girl like you is in fact a lesser crime because you are seductive and girls your age are deceitful. You'll be 32 and the case still won't be settled. So why should you push forward? Because you are not alone. 7 in 10 women in Bolivia experience sexual violence. That's why you keep fighting. For them. Brisa, I want you to close your eyes and imagine your future for a minute. You're gonna change the world. You're going to law school, surprise, and we're brilliant in law school. You're gonna overturn laws that shame women and protect rapists. You're gonna get your PhD, Dr. Brisa de Angulo. You're gonna build the very first organization in Bolivia that protects sexually abused children. We'll speak at the United Nations and educate communities. And when the girls of Bolivia look to us, we'll say, I believe you. I believe in you. What was meant to hurt you can be used to bring hope and healing to others. So stay alive, brave girls. You are valuable, and this world needs you.
Anyone else find it to be a real fucking joke when privileged white American girls go on feminist rants about things they couldn't possibly understand, acting like they're sisters with girls who are actually suffering? And no, at Chloe Bradford, I don't think some random guy calling you hot on the street is actual suffering. The hypocrisy is hilarious. Acting like you understand the complexities of other people's cultures while you wait in line at Starbucks or to get a fucking Brazilian. Hashtag first world problems. Hashtag slacktivism. Hashtag I don't need feminism because I'm Chloe Bradford, by the way, so that comment was directed at me. This is basically what happens anytime I post anything political. It just turns into like 500 comments of people just like dogpiling on each other. And all of these guys from my school are calling me like a slut or a bitch or a feminazi for posting about things going on in the world. But I post anyways because I have to. And yes, I am privileged, but does that mean I'm not supposed to care? I mean, does that mean I'm not allowed to be angry? And you know what? Almaz is privileged too. And I know that we experience like different degrees of privilege, or however you're supposed to say that, but what happened 4 months ago, that just wouldn't happen to me. It's just not in my life, and I'll post about it all I fucking want. Almaz has been my best friend since we were little girls. We live on the same block in Minneapolis. We played at the same park, even went to the same schools. I mean, we're different, but we still get each other. Like Gloria Steinem and Dorothy Pittman Hughes. Like, you can have different experiences and still like sister out, you know? But 4 months ago, Almaz started sobbing in the middle of AP World History and just like ran out of the class. And I went after her to go check on her. And I found her like hyperventilating and shaking in the bathroom stall, and I was like, what is going on? She just cried and she said, I really don't like my life right now. And I laughed. I was like, what are you talking about? How could you not like your life right now? I mean, you're doing amazing in school. Your parents are so proud of you all the time. You're like an insanely talented writer. Like, what the hell is happening? And she just said, I can't tell you. You wouldn't understand, and you'd hate my parents, and you'd think my family is so twisted. There are definitely some things about Almaz that I don't like totally understand, meaning like we don't live the same lives, so like we don't really get it what each other like experiences. Like, for example, I have 2 moms, and she doesn't really get that, but I listen and she listens. So I just said to her, I can try to get it, and even if I don't get it, I can try to just be there for you. Almaz's family is Eritrean, and her parents own this like little restaurant in Little Africa, and it's sort of like a hotspot for people who live in Minnesota but come from East Africa. And she told me she overheard these women from her mosque talking to her parents about flying a woman to Minneapolis to cut girls in the neighborhood. I mean, I had no idea what she meant. When I hear cut in reference to girls, I used to think it meant like self-harm. But then she explained to me what she meant by cut, that this woman was going to come and cut out parts of Almaz's body, that this was traditional in her family, and cutting signified purity and cleanliness, and she really thought her parents weren't going to do it to her, but obviously she was wrong, and there was just nothing she could do about it. And then she said to me, I'll be disgusting. Everything down there will be mutilated, and no guy will ever want me. I mean, the idea of Almaz being mutilated is just horrifying to me. So I said to her, you can do something about this. I mean, this has to be illegal or child abuse or something, like you have to do something. I probably should have phrased it differently because she just yelled at me. I knew you would be so judgmental. You've met my parents, Chloe. Do they seem abusive to you? They think this is the right thing to do, okay? And you want me to report my mom and dad? Did I tell you to report your mom that one time she hit you because you called her a bitch? No, I would never do something like that. And you know what? People don't even know about cutting here. You didn't know about it, so how do you know it's even illegal? You know, there's freedom of religion, and to my parents, this is part of our religion. Just get out. You don't get it. So I just left. She called me later that night and said, it's illegal. I looked it up. So I just said, okay, what do you want to do? What can I do? She said she had a plan, and she needed me to help her think it through. Almaz confronted her parents a week later. She said she loved them so much, and she respected them so much, and she knew that every part of who she was today was because of them, but she knew what they were planning to do, and she needed to protect her body. She asked them to respect her wishes and agree not to have her cut, and they said no. So she went for it. She said cutting is illegal in the US and a lot of other countries too, actually, including Eritrea, and if that woman came to Minneapolis, she would call the police and report them. And if she was cut, she would call the police and report them. And if they took away her phone, she would signal me in this way that they would never be able to find out, a piece of masking tape on her bedroom window, which I can see from the street. And I would know to call the police and social services and school administrators with my moms and give them these letters that Almaz had written explaining her situation and what she overheard at the restaurant. She said she was so sorry and she didn't want it to come to this and she didn't want them to be deported or to go to jail, and she just really hoped they weren't disappointed in her. Her mom slapped her face. Her dad spit on her. They grounded her. But Almaz wasn't cut. And that woman never came. So other girls in the neighborhood probably weren't cut either. I mean, she's 15. And I just can't even imagine what that's like, you know? She came up with a plan and she stuck with it. And I'm just so proud of her. I mean, she's like Supergirl. I love her. I asked her if it was okay if I could share her story with you guys tonight. And she was down with it. She was like, man, people are really weird about lady parts all over the world, right? And I was like, yes. I mean, here we're all like, wax your vagina and don't let it be too tight or too fleshy or too loose. And then for close to 200 million women and girls, they cut out your genitals so you're pure and you're clean. And it's like, come on, world, can't you just let us be whole for once? She was like, yeah, you get it. So that's why I post, because you can only get it if you understand it. Hashtag uncut, hashtag deal with it, hashtag listen to survivors, hashtag open your eyes, Ethan. Ethan's that kid who commented that on my post. Hashtag sisterhood.
As of today, this minute, it's up to 1,757,900 people. That's a bigger group of people than populate every town and city in France except Paris. It's more than 10 times the population of Rouen, where I'm from. Picture that. It would be like selling out the Los Angeles Coliseum 22 times. 1,575,900 people who know her name now, Noura Hussein, who know what she's lived now, who say no to her execution and yes to her human rights now. I live 4,200 miles away from Omdurman, Sudan, where Noura was sentenced to death. I live in a ground floor apartment with my mom, my little sisters, and my brother. I have a bunk bed, I'm in high school, and I want to be a history or philosophy professor when I grow up. Probably just like your kid or your granddaughter or your niece, I'm guilty of being on my phone a lot, even when I'm walking down the street or around my apartment. Sometimes my mom asks me how I can possibly see where I'm going with my head stuck on Instagram or an ebook or a blog post about a girl on death row a continent away. And the answer is, I don't always know where I'm going, but I do have a strong intuition and sense of direction. I can usually feel when things are coming my way. Although I had no idea that Noura's story would burst through my phone early that ordinary Thursday morning and hit me like a truck. When Noura Hussein was 16 years old, my age, her family arranged for her to be married. She said no. She didn't want that for herself. So for 3 years, she fended off her family and her marriage. But her father finally forced it, and on her honeymoon, she refused to have sex with her husband. So he raped her while his brother and 2 of his cousins held her down. When he tried to rape her again, she stabbed him in self-defense. It was her father who turned her over to the authorities and disowned her. So Noura was tried, charged with murder, and sentenced to death. I was so emotional, I was shaking. Maybe because she's a teenager and I'm a teenager. Maybe because I know that I would have faced the same thing if I had been born in Sudan. Maybe because it was so clear to me that they were trying to silence her, just like the world tries to silence so many other girls and women. And maybe because I could so feel what it was to be Noura, that fear and adrenaline and desire to survive just radiating through her as she literally battled for her life. I could not go about my regular day. I could not stop thinking about Noura. I didn't know her. I had never met her, but I couldn't help but feel like, oh my God, I can't just let this girl die. So I took out my laptop, got settled on my bed, and got to work. Some people think that petitions are pointless, but I think that they represent the voice of the people. I believe in the power of the people. I believe that there's strength in numbers. So I think that petitions say, hey, you, all of you, attach your name to something. Join me. We're all in this together. And also, just like anybody my age, I can't vote. I'm not a lawyer. I can't get on a plane and go save this girl. I don't have superpowers. So this is my way of making my voice heard. This is my microphone. It's my way of standing with Noura and putting her story out there. So I posted it on Instagram, asked my friends to share it, and basically nothing happened. I was really discouraged, so I gave up. No! Are you kidding me? That is not what girls of my generation do. Instead, I reached out to every single human rights organization I could think of. And Equality Now got back to me when they saw my petition. They stood with me, and we spent every ounce of energy and free time pushing the story, spreading my petition with the hashtag Justice for Noura. It went viral. 70 signatures turned into 700,000 signatures, turned into 1,757,920 people. Noura had less than a month left to live when I started my campaign. Today, she's alive. International human rights organizations are making her case. The UN has called for her release. Noura's nightmare isn't over, but the world is watching now. And I was part of that. A girl from a small town armed with nothing but a laptop and rage. And I did something. I'm proof that you don't have to know someone to save their life. Noura is my sister. Not a sister in the sense that we share the same mother, but a sister in humanity. My dream is to meet her someday. I think that would be a beautiful moment.